It was supposed to be a fresh start. After my divorce, I needed a change, something drastic, so I packed up, left behind the crowded city, and rented a small house in a quiet rural town. It wasn't much, just a one-story place, a bit run down, with a sagging front porch and paint that had seen better days. But it was mine, and for the first time in a long time, I could breathe. The house had been empty for years. The landlord told me that the previous tenant left in a hurry and never came back. She didn't elaborate, and I didn't press. The rent was cheap, the yard was big, and I liked the idea of being alone for a while. The first few days were peaceful. I spent my time unpacking, arranging old furniture, and getting familiar with the creaks and groans of the place. The water heater sputtered sometimes, and the floorboards in the hallway moaned under my weight, but that was to be expected. I even started to enjoy the silence. Then, the smell started. It was faint at first, just a whiff of something unpleasant. I noticed it in the kitchen one morning, a sour, earthy odor that lingered like spoiled food. But when I opened the fridge and checked the trash, everything was fine. I figured maybe the pipes were old or the garbage disposal needed a flush. I ran some lemon peels through it and tried to forget about it. But the smell didn't go away. In fact, it grew stronger. By the third day, it had spread. It clung to the walls, seeped into my clothes. Every breath carried it, a thick, rotting stench that turned my stomach. It wasn't like mildew or backed-up plumbing. It was something worse. I searched everywhere. I scrubbed the kitchen, checked under the sink, even pulled out the stove and refrigerator. Nothing. The bathroom was spotless. The drains were clear, no signs of mold. But the smell remained. At night, it was unbearable. It seemed to pulse through the walls, thickening the air. I barely slept, lying awake with my face buried under the covers, trying to block it out. My eyes watered, my throat burned. I considered calling the landlord, but I didn't want to seem dramatic. It was probably something minor, a dead animal in the crawl space maybe. Those things happened. The fourth day, I couldn't take it anymore. I went down to the basement. The house's unfinished basement was accessible through a heavy wooden door in the kitchen. I'd avoided it until then. It was damp, cold, and the kind of place that made the hairs on your neck stand up. The single hanging light bulb buzzed weakly, barely illuminating the cracked concrete floor. Rust stains crawled down the walls like veins. The air down there was different, heavy, and the smell was unbearable. It was coming from down there, I was sure of it. I covered my mouth and nose with an old towel and descended the stairs, each creak echoing through the hollow space. My flashlight beam swept over the walls, old shelves, empty boxes, a broken workbench, nothing that explained the stench. But then I saw the vent. It was near the floor, partially obscured by a pile of rotting cardboard. The metal grate was rusted and bent like someone had kicked it in. The closer I got, the worse the smell became. My stomach turned and I had to fight the urge to gag. I crouched down, using the flashlight to peer inside. The vent led into darkness, a narrow tunnel that disappeared beneath the house. It was too dark to see anything clearly, but then I noticed something. Something was wedged inside. It was hard to tell at first. A bundle of rags? Maybe an old discarded blanket? But as I leaned closer, the details became clearer. A fabric sleeve, a pale, curled hand. I stumbled back, the flashlight trembling in my grip. My mind raced, trying to make sense of what I'd seen. It couldn't be real. Maybe it was a mannequin, some leftover junk from the previous tenant. That had to be it. But the smell told me otherwise. I didn't know how long I stood there, frozen. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to get out of that basement and never come back. But I couldn't. I needed to be sure. I found an old broom leaning against the wall and used the handle to prod at the vent. The grate gave way with a sickening scrape. The fabric shifted, and that's when I saw it. The face. Pale, sunken. The skin was mottled and gray, pulling tight over hollow cheeks. The eyes were wide, but lifeless, staring into nothing. Strands of dark hair clung to the damp skin. The body was twisted, crammed into the narrow space like a discarded doll. Was this the previous tenant? I don't remember running back upstairs. I don't remember grabbing my keys or yanking the front door open, but I remember the air, the cool, clean air that hit my face when I stumbled outside. My stomach lurched and I emptied what little I'd eaten onto the ground. I couldn't stay there, not after that. That night, I checked into a motel. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the face, those eyes, and the smell. God, I could still smell it. I didn't call the police. I didn't call anyone. I packed up my things the next morning, drove straight to the landlord's office, and handed over the keys. She barely reacted, just nodded like she already knew. Maybe she did. I don't know what happened in that house. I don't want to know. I didn't read the news or check for updates. I didn't ask questions. I left that town and never looked back. But sometimes when I catch a whiff of something foul, something rotten, I can't shake the fear that it's followed me, that no matter where I go, that smell will find me again.